Your game plan in life sucks. And it's not because you're inconsistent, it's not because you lack talent or lack the resources needed to get you where you want to go. It also has nothing to do with the type of people you surround yourself with. As a matter of fact, I'd go as far as suggesting that you don't even need a crash course or rule book that you need to acquire. The reason you aren't making the progress that you want is simply because you don't have the discipline to stick to something that is not working. You think that by learning new tactics or making adjustments to your routine that you'll overcome obstacles that are holding you back. But how do you know if something is bound to fail if you don't stick around long enough to see the results? A lot of times we overcomplicate the process of working towards our goals. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to this channel I've been watching recently called Average to Jacked. If you're someone that is tired of running in circles when it comes to fitness and the gym, he has a great playlist of videos that truly simplify the process of getting into great shape. His main focus is sticking to something that is sustainable with an emphasis of quality over quantity. He exposes the downside of spending too much time in the gym on a weekly basis. I really resonate with bro because ever since I stopped going to the gym 5 to 6 days a week, I have made much better progress compared to when I was chasing high output. Definitely check him out. What you have to realize is that sometimes you have to swing the bat hundreds of times before you can hit a home run. Think of professional athletes. When they train, they follow the most mundane and repetitive actions every single day. They stick to the basics, get their reps in, and rinse and repeat the entire process. Last year, I read a book called Raise Your Game by Alan Stein. In the book, the author talks about how he had the opportunity to come watch Kobe Bryant practice at 4 in the morning. This was Kobe's routine. But to the author's surprise, when he watched Kobe practice, it was all just basic fundamental footwork and drills. Nothing crazy, but for Kobe, the basics were crucial. According to Kobe, he never got bored of the basics. That's what made him great. He wasn't focusing on what are the new guys out there doing. He wasn't focusing on KD's game or Bron's game. He stuck with what he knew, and he continued to refine that process. You could even make a statement that he stuck with the Lakers, even though perhaps there were times where he felt like his success lied with other teams, but he stuck it out. He had the similar coaching process alongside his career, and it worked out great for him. If you're someone that's learning something new for the first time, you are gonna have to get through the repetitive nature of the game. You will not see results, sometimes for a very long time. Like I mentioned, I've recently been taking the gym more seriously, but I've accepted that I'm gonna have to do the same stuff over and over again before I get some output. Currently, I work out Friday, Saturday, Monday, and Tuesday. All the other days of the week are for resting and working on other projects I have going on. I'm eating the same food, I'm meal prepping, I'm cutting out how much I spend on going out to eat. Yes, you will get bored along the way, but you have to create opportunities that are hard to say no to. If you're going to spend an hour or two every week meal prepping, you'll be reluctant to opt for fast food instead. Why do I go to the gym on Saturdays? Because I know that it's harder to make an excuse for myself when I have the whole day. You have to set the traps for yourself, the good kind of traps. I've also shifted this same mindset to YouTube. I stopped posting 3 times a week and am now sticking with 2 videos a week. No more, no less. At some point, I felt like I was compromising quality and ultimately came to terms with the fact that growth just takes time. You can give all the sunlight and water that you want to a tree. You can sit there and stare at it all day long. It's not going to grow any faster. It's not going to produce better fruit. But if you try to do something different, like remove the tree and plant it somewhere else, or experiment with different fertilizer and other things like that, you might be shooting yourself in the foot. I'm so glad I went this route because not only does this make the process more enjoyable, but it also allows me to allocate time to other things that I have to commit to. I'm sure there are plenty of people watching this video that are about to embark on college or get your foot in the door with your career. I made mistakes in college and early on in my career that made the process a lot more harder than it needed to be. One thing that I always tell people is just stick to one major. Just complete the coursework, get that piece of paper in your hand. You're going to waste time and money jumping around, but make sure you pick something that is high demand and will give you a good return on investment. You can absolutely transition from finance to tech or biology to engineering. You might have to do some outside coursework, but it's definitely doable. I will say though, it just doesn't really matter what is labeled on your piece of paper. Once you get that experience, you can land any career that you want. You just have to find that vehicle for yourself that's going to carry you where you want to go. When it comes to your career, job hopping is not as great as you think. Sure, you can make more money, but you have to ask yourself if it's really worth it. In 2025, I decided that jumping to a higher paying job with more ownership over different tasks is going to sidetrack me from other things I have going on. I have it good. I go to the gym, I go to the office 3 days a week, I live 15 minutes away from work, I work in a big team that can cover for me if I can't commit to things, and this all makes it so much easier for me to do other things in life that I want to work on. You have to think beyond the salary bump. I'm not saying neglect opportunities, but truly weigh the options out before determining that you're better off shifting gears instead of cruising along. For all my fellow entrepreneurs, you have to give yourself some time. You have to learn to fail, especially learn how to fail fast. Starting a business or being self-employed is an extremely exhausting process. You have to put a lot of reps in before you get anywhere. They say you need to give yourself 2 to 3 years before you walk away from something. If you don't see yourself sticking around and trying to save a sinking ship, perhaps you're not ready to run shop in the first place. Please know I'm not saying that you can't make adjustments along the way, but let's say you're selling a product that just isn't getting traction. If you truly believe in this product and have seen others capitalize off of it, you're just wasting time and money if you're jumping from one idea to another every 4 to 6 months. Most businesses fail because people don't have the funding to survive the first 2 years before you break even. It's not an absolute, but it's a great general rule of thumb to follow. If you're like me and you want to invest your money and make the best use of it, you're going to have to stay patient and follow through with things that will get you there. Student loans. I talk about this one a lot. I've spoken on it in previous videos. Every month, I aim to pay $2,000 to $3,000 towards my student loans, and it sucks. But the repetition is necessary to free myself from that. Once the student loans are out of the way, I know I'll be a lot happier and I can actually put that money towards things that actually matter to me. Keep investing in stocks even when the market dips. Put aside whatever works for you, whether it's $100, $200, or $500 a month. Figure out that number for yourself and just keep investing. Play the long game. Do a self-audit of yourself every 6 to 12 months and then determine if certain strategies just aren't working out for you. And while you do all of these things, make sure to keep living below your means. You don't need a fancy house or an expensive car. That's the worst thing you can do as soon as you get a little bit of money to play with. You don't need to spend $500 every weekend on expensive dinners. Just because you make more money as time goes along does not necessitate having to upgrade your lifestyle. You gotta learn to enjoy the simplicity of life. It's a lovely Sunday afternoon here in the Chicago area. I just stepped outside for some fresh air, but here I am working on this video. Learn to just enjoy a simple routine. You don't have to go out and seek adventure at every given opportunity. The next one is a bit of a tough one to speak on, but majority of relationships, especially marriages, fail because you don't want to give it time. For all my guys that are about to get married, I'll tell you, year one is the hardest one. And it's not necessarily due to the lack of compatibility or trust. It's finances, it's the change of lifestyle, it's actually committing yourself to someone under legal parameters. Your family dynamic totally shifts. I realized after I got married that I'm spending a lot of time with my wife's family and they're great people, they love me, and I really value the relationships I've created, but it's a lot different than what I was used to. You have to give relationships time before they strengthen. It takes time before you get to know your stepfather or step-siblings. Once again, I know this is a tough one to speak on because I also don't want to suggest committing time to someone who's harmful to your overall well-being. But if it is reasonable, give it time. It might work out for the best. So to sum it all up, don't change your game plan every time you run into something that might seem like the better option. Try to stick with what you're doing, especially if you walked into it doing your homework beforehand. If others have had success in the same areas, there's a high chance that you might as well. Stay consistent, prioritize rest, simplify your life, and everything will pay dividends in due time.